Good morning. Good morning. It is Winning Women's Wednesday.
Wait a second. What's different?
Well, our normal, woefully outnumbered partner has decided to step aside today. So we are Rick free.
We are Rick free.
And it could go crazy. I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited.
We have the right person here with us today.
We have an
Chauncey
amazing
Pham.
special guest.
Hello.
Yes.
I'll let you introduce her. Give us
so
the story.
Chauncey Pham. Chauncey, what was your leadership name?
Huh?
What was your leadership name when we were in TRLP? Do you remember?
I do not remember. I don't remember what I ate on Monday.
Okay, got it. So Chauncey and I met in TRLP, which is the leadership program.
Absolutely.
That Metrotex does. And that was in 2018.
Yep.
So I've gotten to watch the rise of this woman over the last 6 years, which is absolutely amazing. She is mother, wife extraordinaire, flipper, a TV show. She's an investor. She's got all of these things.
She's all the things. I love it.
But what I love about her is she's a bad A real biatch. And that's what she's here for us today. I'm trying to censor myself.
Thank you.
I know,
Thank you.
because Michelle's like, stop cursing, Ashley. I know.
It's going to be good.
I know.
I'll pray for y'all.
Okay. Thank you so
I
much.
love on you. I don't care.
Yes.
Before we get started, though, I do want to say something.
Yes.
You don't even know what this is.
What is it?
So last week, we had the amazing Silveria Duran.
Yes.
Red Bottom Roofing. Shout out to them. And I commented in her Facebook post,
Right.
Thanks for coming. Da-da-da-da. It was so great to meet you. Da-da-da-da. Here's the cool thing that happened. Love this. Emily Waller, another female roofer,
Correct.
commented, the only other roofer I would recommend. And ladies, that is women supporting
cool.
women.
Yes,
and I
I
love
love
that.
it.
I love that. That
love
made
that.
my freaking day.
Yes.
So shout out to all of you ladies who are supporting each other, because that's what it's about.
Winning women.
Winning women. Yes.
Okay, well, let's
Yes.
roll.
Let's roll.
Let's talk about our guest.
Chauncey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing very well, actually.
How's your summer been?
My summer's been amazing. I've done a lot of travel this summer, and
Favorite place?
Mexico City.
You just got back from there.
I just got back from Mexico City yesterday.
My husband was drooling. He wants to go there so bad.
I am obsessed with Mexico City now.
Why?
Even
Tell me
after
why.
the food tried to kill you?
Yes, even after the food tried to kill me. That was my fault though. Like it was a really sketchy decision. I knew that I
Isn't
shouldn't
that
have
life?
Yeah, and
Life
I was
in
like,
general.
I shouldn't
Sometimes
eat
it
this, but I'm
works,
gonna eat
sometimes
this.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, but it's a really great city. It's really
Amazing.
vibrant. Lots of architecture, lots of art, museums. I really enjoyed it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Love that.
Oh, yeah.
So you are, as Ashley mentioned, involved in so many different things.
Yes, I am. So I am married. Been married for I don't know. What's 2011? So 13 years.
Me too. I do that too. So my husband's
so
supposed to
hard.
remember, not me. Like that's
I know when I got married. I just don't remember the years anymore.
Yeah.
So been married a long time.
Yes.
I got 2 kids.
Hey, that's a good thing to say, though. You know what?
Right?
That is a blessing. So
Yeah.
2 kids, got into the real estate business back in 2016, was just an agent. And then by 2018, because I'd done so well, I decided to open up my own business entity brokerage. So I got a business entity broker's license, opened up my own brokerage, ended up with about 15 agents at its peak. But during that time, I was able to really build my business out, like with social media and with YouTube specifically. And my YouTube kind of blew up.
Yes, it did.
So then all of these realtors started reaching out to me saying, oh my goodness, I really wish that I could be a part of what you're doing, but I'm in New York or I'm in California. So at that point, I decided to close down my boutique brokerage, went to a national brand where I could kind of recruit other agents, and did that, grew to about 400 agents within a year.
That's incredible.
this
That's
girl can
incredible.
hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did really good with that. And so my long-term game was, you know what, I want that to pull me out of production so I don't have to sell houses anymore. And then I want to really focus on investing, which my husband opened up our investing company at the end of 2018. And so by, I don't know, the end of 2019, I was pretty much full-time in investing with my husband.
Awesome.
And so then 2021 rolled around. We got on a television show. It's just, we've been all over the damn place at this point.
I love it. And we were just talking outside before. We don't even know what we want to be when we grow up, which is both scary and exciting at the same time.
Yes.
That we don't know what this crazy world's going to do for any one of us. And I think, sometimes you wake up and you go, what am I going to do? And then other days you wake up, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Because the world is available for so many different opportunities. And I think that's what's amazing is just because you've done one thing doesn't mean that has to be your
Absolutely.
thing.
No.
And
Which
the
is
evolution
cool.
of that.
That is different from, I think, how most of us grew up, where
Yes.
our parents were working a 9 to 5 and you did the thing
For
and you
30
retired.
years.
In 30 years, you were at the same spot. I would die.
Yeah, no,
I can't even imagine.
do it.
Can't even imagine.
No.
So I love that we're in this space now where it is okay to be creative and to change it up. And I
absolutely.
love that we can also set that example for our kids.
Yes.
Do you have boys or girls?
I have a girl and a boy.
Okay. How old are they?
My daughter is 14. My son is 10.
And one of them does not want to go to meet the teacher night.
Both of them don't want to go to
I got
meet
it.
the teacher.
That was
I
me.
got it.
Yeah.
Can I just go to work? How do I have to
Neither of
meet
them
the teacher?
want to go. And they're so wildly different. But I really enjoy being able to do what I do and be creative, but more importantly, like show them that you don't have to do anything traditionally. I thought it was really funny. One of them, they had some friends. So my son's best friend and my daughter's best friend are brother and sister.
Oh.
So they come
How
over.
cool is that?
That's so fun.
So they come over together, and they were over a couple of weeks ago, and I heard my son's best friend asking him, "Why don't your parents have a job?"
Sorry.
I love it. He was like, "What? Your parents don't work? How do you guys have money?
Yeah.
Your parents don't have a job." So it's very interesting. And my son was like, "Oh, they're just like, they do stuff with houses, and they like, they buy houses and stuff."
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was very interesting because, you really aren't exposed to things that you're not exposed to. Like,
Right.
like as a kid, he can't wrap his head around how come every time they come to our house, no matter what time of day it is, we're always
Somebody's
we're just
there.
there. Yeah, we're just there.
Well, and I think that's the difference of you don't have a job.
Yeah.
You're business owners, you're entrepreneurs, you're grinders, and everything else, and that does look very, very different.
It does.
It does. That's one of my favorite stories. When Caitlin moved off to New York, the first job that she got there was as a seamstress, like a 9 to 5 type thing. And after about 2 weeks, she was done. She was like, "They keep telling me to go to lunch at noon. I'm not hungry." Well, yeah, you kind of got to do what they say. She's like, "No, I'm done with this.
I don't
I'm
want to
out."
do this.
I don't want a job.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
then it's for my daughter. That's all she's ever seen, just like your kids and everything. And so when I have to do something or whatever, and she's like, "But I just miss you." I'm like, "We just spent 7 hours together."
That'll
like,
change.
But here's
Her
the deal.
teenage years are coming, sister.
No, but it's like, which I love, and I love the fact that she wants all that time with me, and I'm like, so sometimes I have to like remind her, and she's homeschooled, so like there's not that. I'm like, do you know how much time we actually physically get with each other?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Sometimes.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but
So, as a female in all these roles that you are in, how have you struggled?
Ooh.
Well, she just went and hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we
Yeah.
got to jump in.
Okay.
Hit me in the face. How have I struggled? I tend to be a people pleaser and a people fixer.
Ooh.
And a lot of my career and in getting in real estate, I found that I'm good with hyping people up and developing people and coaching and training and mentoring. And being in that space and being a people pleaser can be a really dark place.
Yeah.
Because people will take and take and take until there's nothing
Absolutely.
left. And it's a very difficult place to be in. And until you get fed up, all of your energy is drained. It can be very, very taxing. And so for me, really figuring out how to create boundaries but still add value to a community that I really want to add value to has been really, really difficult for me. And so I would say for probably the last year, I really pulled back and I've almost had an identity crisis.
Yep.
I started in this business with being loud and boisterous and having this voice on social media and being the real estate rebel, but rebelling against the system where I didn't need anything from people necessarily, and I would just give, and I would just give all of the information for free, and be available for people at their beck and call. And I got punched in the face when I realized that it's not reciprocated,
Yes.
and that essentially I was sacrificing myself and sacrificing time for my family for sometimes not a lot of return on that investment. So
Absolutely.
I've finally found a way to create those boundaries, but that has been really, really difficult for me.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on that because I think, especially being strong women, it's different than a strong man. I think that's kind of like expected from guys a lot of the
Right,
time. And then you see a strong woman who has all of these different maternal instincts, all of these things. I'm going to love on you. I'm going to bring you up. I'm going to champion for you and all this kind of stuff. And then you kind of look around and you're like, okay, there's nobody behind me to do the same for me. Right. And you just got to go sometimes like, where's that overdrive button? And that's why I think it's so amazing to create this community. And I'm so grateful for Michelle, because going through the same thing myself, like sometimes you just need another strong woman that you can text or you can reach out to and go, bruh.
Yeah.
You know, like it is a day. She is much better with her mouth than I am, but I'll send her a TikTok that's got all these expletives. And then yesterday.
And it does make me giggle.
It does. But then she texted me yesterday, say the F word for me, because I'm just over this today, you know? And that was just, it was enough to read that and go, okay, cool. Like I don't need months of encouragement. Like in fact, like
Don't make it weird.
Yeah. No, let's not make it weird.
Yeah. I just need to get it out and have, you know, a shoulder to lean on and for just a second.
And know that you have the same experiences
Correct.
too.
And that my feelings
let's be
are
authentic.
validated.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, 100%.
Absolutely.
So that's what I've struggled with, but I'm getting there. I'm finding myself again, kind of finding my voice again in this space, because this time I want to make sure that I do it right.
Yep.
So that I don't have resentment or feel taken advantage of because of things that I allow other people to do to me.
Well, that's what I was about to say. We were talking about that, about getting bitter and resentful, but we'd allowed it.
Yeah.
And that is it. That was
not their fault.
self-inflicted. No, absolutely
It's not their
not.
fault.
You get what you allow.
Correct.
But that's so hard to take in practice.
Yeah.
Because you want to be helpful, you want to be kind, you want to be generous.
Yeah.
You don't want to be mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I first got into the business, the one thing that I noticed was that the best people that are equipped to help real estate agents are other real estate agents, not necessarily your brokerage or your broker.
Sure.
That's not their job, right? And everyone gatekeeped everything. I
my
vividly
gosh.
remember asking other agents when I first got started, like, hey, like, how does this work? And they would just be really standoffish. And I remember the very first transaction that I had, the agent on the other side of the aisle, I was just really, really honest with him. And I was like, dude, this is my first transaction. I don't know what I'm doing. And he was like, I got you. And he helped me. And even after that transaction, I would call him and he would help me. He had nothing to do with my brokerage or anything. And I remember how that made me feel.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of continue that. But I think over the years and doing that and attracting so many people, it just, it became a suck on my energy.
Well, and you know why? Because most people, they don't have that extra drive or whatever to push through the hard.
Right.
And this is hard.
This is hard.
This is really hard. And so many people are like, I need you to not only help me carry the boulder, I need you to strap it on your back and then drag me along next to you. And that's just not something, that's not sustainable. No. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's also really exciting that you sit there and somebody could go, gosh, you want to what's the next iteration, or you want to reinvent yourself? Because, 40 years old is not what it was. 20, 30 years ago. 40 is like a brand new baby at this point, which I think is exciting, to go into this next chapter and say, hey, the world is my oyster. And what does this look like with this new vision of how I want to rebuild, this next space.
Yeah. When my daughter brought me my AARP card that arrived in the mail a couple weeks ago, they were very timely. They were right on time. It was lovely. We had, after I cried a little, we had a great laugh. And I looked up 20 years ago what a 50-year-old looked like and what their expectations were. And I mean, they had one foot in the grave. And I'm like,
Golden Girls.
Yes.
Do you actually know the age of the Golden Girls actresses? And I'm like, okay,
they look old.
That's legit.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just getting started.
Yes.
I finally know some things. And I'm getting you people out of the house. I can.
You people.
Stella getting her groove back.
Yeah,
over there.
Stella's getting a groove back. Alan and I, Gracie was in California for an internship at Berkeley. She's our smart one. So I'm all in to her because I understand her. My two creatives, I'm like, I don't know. I just hope y'all have a job. I don't even get what you're doing, but it's all good. But she was gone for 2 weeks. And when we went to pick her up from the airport, Alan was like, okay, we can't tell her we didn't miss her. Okay. When she says, did y'all have fun without me? Because we already got busted at Bath and Body Works. She was like, what are y'all doing? It's like, oh. So I'm get this girl graduated on her way, and I'm 50.
You're
and
50
I'm
and you're ready to go. Yeah.
I'm ready. I've got plans, both business and personal. I'm ready to start this whole new iteration and get it going.
We do have plans. Yes. I want to talk about that for just a second before we go into because it's super exciting.
It's so exciting.
I know. When Michelle and I originally we'd announced that we wanted to do a women's conference and a different type of women's conference, we were both talking. We were like, we need somebody to come in here with a wrecking ball energy that's going to come and match us. And then I was like, hey, I know somebody. And then I turned around and I'm like, Chauncey, and you had never met Chauncey before, but you got to see some of her videos and some other stuff. And so the three amigas over here. We're going to do it in September.
I'm so excited. We are going to have so much fun.
Yes.
The 2024 Women Who Win Conference. It's going to be amazing.
We love it.
It's going to be at Metrotex.
It's going to be at Metrotex.
It is September 27th. Starts at 12:30. We're going to have all kinds of swag. We're going to have networking. And you're going to walk away with a few things.
Well, and I think that's I keep on going back to how do you unstuck yourself,
Yes.
and that's what's so great. And you're so amazing at the branding side of things and really pushing people out of their comfort zone. And I love Michelle because she is all the things that I am not, which is what makes this a really good duo. She's like, let's talk about lists. Let's break this down. I'm like, listen, Michelle, I don't like paper. I'm not going to do anything that's on the list. So she's going to bring.
You're going to get them unstuck.
Yeah.
You're going to give them some incredible social media tools, which I cannot wait. It's going to be so fun.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you a plan to put it all together.
Oh, great.
And you're going to have a kick-ass year for 2024. It's all going to end great. And, and we're going to have a good time.
Yes.
We're going to have some girly fun.
We're going to talk a little trash.
We're going to talk a little trash.
That's what I was about to say. That's my girly fun.
We'll talk a little trash. There might be some cocktails. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome. So let's dive into Chauncey a little bit more. So what else do you have for that our viewers need to?
With all the things that you're doing right now, and I think this is what you're going to be speaking on at the conference, tell us what you're passionate about in this phase, because as we've talked about, we're all changing.
In this phase. I'm really passionate about the media side of things and marketing. And I think I've figured out that's been the foundation of pretty much everything that I've done. And I've never really focused on that and showing others how they can leverage that and find their own voice and not necessarily having to emulate other people and in creating a brand, but really just becoming comfortable with yourself.
And that's what's hard. You get on the camera and you're selling a house and you're doing the thing, and it's always
not.
Welcome to 500 Main Street.
Yeah, and like nobody cares. Nobody cares about 500 Main Street, right?
No, they don't.
They care about how this structure behind them, like how is it going to benefit them? How is watching this video and how is giving up 1 minute of their life to you? How is that going to help them? And I think that I love everything about just producing media in general and the creative side of it. And I think that all of us have it in us to do it in our own unique ways. But everyone preaches their way to do it, and that can be very intimidating. So
it makes it hard to find your own authenticity because you're
really
trying to copy.
Because you're trying to copy. So it doesn't matter. You can buy all of these programs. You can buy all of these schedules that tell you what you're supposed to post and where to post and how to post and what videos to make and do this reel and post. And like none of the stuff matters because most people aren't even confident enough.
Well, they're not even going to do it.
They're not even going to do it. When the cameras turn on, their pits start sweating, you know?
My pits are sweating now, by the way, but that's for a whole nother reason.
That's a different show.
Yeah, that's a different show for a different time. Women of a different era. But most of that is because they don't know who they're freaking talking to.
Correct.
They don't know their audience. Like, who is the avatar?
They don't know themselves
They don't know themselves.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. They don't know who they're speaking to, but more importantly, they don't know themselves, and they're not okay with themselves.
Sure.
And I think that's where I was able to excel in the social media aspect and creating media, which then became the foundation of me building all of these businesses. And I really am passionate about helping people find their voice and being able to do the same thing.
Well, and I got to see you. I was so excited that I got to see you on stage and speak here a couple weeks ago at $1 Million Mastermind. And I am a part of that business association and everything else. And it was so cool to see people post about you afterwards. Like the people were talking about the different, sessions that were on there, and people really gravitated towards what you were talking about. And it was real and it was authentic and it was in their face and it was great. And I think that's what people want to hear more of, is that it's, as much as a plan, which is really good. I mean, you need the plan and everything else, but if you don't,
that comes after.
That comes after. And then people are trying to do this instant gratification. Okay, I want to go from 0 to 100. And to your point, I mean, they don't even know what they're doing, who they're doing it for, why they're doing it.
No.
And so I think that's really important. I think we're going to focus a lot with that at the conference as well, so that you can deploy those strategies once you can figure that out. So what are some ideas? I mean, how did you start to figure out your own voice, Chauncey?
So when I first got into real estate, I went through this weird period of understanding branding and marketing, right? And so
Who did you start with in real estate, if you don't mind saying?
Fathom.
Fathom. Okay.
I started with Fathom.
Okay.
And I was on my own
Yeah.
because, they don't have any offices or
Right.
anything like that. So I just worked from home. I never really got to see what other people were doing.
Yeah.
So I just had to make it up from scratch. I just had to use my imagination. And I was like, this is what I think real estate agents do.
Yeah.
Just funny story back to when I first started. So I got licensed in August. My license became active like mid-September. And I sold like $3.5, almost $4 million worth of real estate by the end of that year.
Go, girl.
And I thought in my brain, again, because I hadn't been around other agents, that good agents sold $10 million. That was the benchmark. Like nobody sold really less than $10 million worth of real estate a year. And so I went to the Christmas party. And at the Christmas party, I was sitting next to my mentor at the time. Her name was Genevieve. And Genevieve Golden. And
Great name.
Yeah, I know, her name's awesome. And so they start calling up and doing awards, and there was awards for $2 million. And so I leaned over to her and I said, Genevieve, they did $2 million this month? And she said, no, honey, that's for the year. And my mind was blown. But in that moment, what that taught me was that, and this is how I kind of really got started with my branding, was because I didn't have anyone else to look at and to set standards for me and to tell me how I was supposed to work, what my goals were supposed to be, how I was supposed to show up, what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to look online. I didn't have any of that because I didn't have an office. I wasn't surrounded by any other agent. So everything I knew about real estate just came from my brain and like what I Googled online and went and saw on YouTube. And so I essentially was like, I'm not listening to any of these people. In my brain, I thought that the minimum was $10 million a year. And here I am seeing people, I thought I was about to go to this award ceremony and see people are selling $50 million a year. And so why would I listen to them?
Yeah.
I want to listen to myself. And so what I started doing is I went home at that point and I said, what do I watch? Where do I spend my time? And what do I like to see? And at that time, I was really big into YouTube and I was watching women do makeup.
Oh, yes.
And I would watch the makeup videos. And I went down this long tunnel of people just straight onto camera, talking, putting on makeup, being very entertaining, but very engaging at the same time. And I looked for realtors that did that, and there were none.
Yeah.
And I said, that's who I am. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to say all the crazy stuff that I'm saying. I'm going to drop my F-bombs if I drop my F-bombs.
Yeah,
but
girl.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my audience because I'm going to talk straight to them through the camera in a medium that I'm not seeing any other real estate agents do. I'm not going to just talk about houses, but I'm going to talk about a lot of the problems that consumers have. I'm going to talk about all of these other things, and I'm going to find my people. And my business literally blew up.
That's amazing. Love that.
Well,
Because you trusted in yourself.
Yeah, I trusted myself. I didn't have any preconceived notions of what I was supposed to do in real estate.
I think and we always said comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
Comparison is the thief of success, you know, and if you're sitting there and constantly, now we also know that success leaves clues and that's something that's important, but you were finding your clues. They just weren't from the natural resources that we sit there and compare ourselves to. And I think that's absolutely amazing.
Which is an issue within our industry is this is the way we've always done it. This is the way we're going to do it. We can't do it another way, which is why everyone is so worried about August 17th.
Right.
When really they shouldn't be.
Right.
Just do your thing.
It's just a new way of doing things.
Yes.
But yeah, I legitimately, like the whole time that I've been in this business, and I think a big part of finding your voice and branding is just looking at what everybody else does, just run the other way.
Run the other way.
Do the opposite.
Do the
Run.
opposite.
Do the opposite.
Yeah, everybody's got to find their differentiator. And I think that's the biggest thing. Everybody's talking about value proposition. It's not value proposition because, that's, and I know that may, tick people off and everything else. Like everybody can have value.
Absolutely.
But what makes you different from the 7 other people that are bringing the same value to the
same,
table?
with the same form.
Yeah.
It's
Same
like,
value.
who
Absolutely.
are you and what are
Correct.
you providing to the client that makes them enjoy their buyer experience because you're you?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and that goes, and so that's translating through all the things that you're doing because you have so many different audiences. It was, recruiting agents, and it was, it was your individual clients for your real estate portfolio and your business, and then you've got a television show and you're flipping and you're doing all these other things. And I think that's what's amazing. And somebody might sit there and say, you know, I used to think it was like, just do one thing. Why do people have to do so many things?
Yeah.
And then you just realize that as you grow and as you evolve, more opportunities come. You start to understand where you are passionate about, you know, doing things, realizing that no, man, that's an energy vampire in my life. I don't want to do that anymore. But if somebody else wants to pick up that ball and run with it, go for it. It's just not working for me anymore. And that's okay.
And that is okay.
Seasons change, and that is okay. And that's what life is about, evolving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what, within your community, what opportunities are you seeing with the changes that are coming in the real estate industry?
Ooh, so many opportunities.
Agreed.
I would say the biggest opportunity is for buyer's agents. And I heard this on a podcast that I think you sent to me.
Probably.
And I had already thought about this, but I wasn't able to articulate it the way that the guy did, which is essentially buyer's agents will now be able to really create like a suite of services.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so before, buyer's agents commission, you know, it was predetermined. And so, but you didn't really have any control over it.
Right.
It was predetermined by a listing agent. And so it was really hard for you to figure out exactly how much you're going to make, because this listing may, you know, pay this much and this may pay. And so now, you have more control over that, and you also have more control over ancillary services that you can offer to the buyers. And this podcast in particular, was
that Keith Robinson?
Yeah, it was Keith.
Yeah,
and it was freaking amazing because I'm like, that was my first initial thought was, why don't you just offer a whole bunch of other stuff to make sure that your services are valued and a buyer wants to pay for it? You're setting up their utilities, you're setting up their movers, you're paying for these things, and then you're building in margins into that, and like it can be so many different things. And the reason I thought about this when this first came out is I went to a real estate conference in Detroit last August, and they had us do this really cool exercise at the beginning, and they had us write down all of the different people that make money in a real estate transaction that is originated by the real estate agent.
Excellent.
And at the end of that exercise, I think we had like 51 different people. And then, or 51 different businesses that would make money. And then the person that was facilitating the exercise then said, how many of those services are you making money off of? Or are you only making money on the real estate transaction? And that this is the future of real estate. Yeah. And this is how things are going to change.
That's great.
And so now we have this huge opportunity as realtors and as buyer's agents to not just do what society perceives us to do as a buyer's agent, which is just open a door, right? It's not just be a consultative service on the real estate transaction. It can be so many other things, and providing conveniences for the consumer.
Yes.
And then, people pay for convenience. They don't necessarily just pay for a door to be open, but they'll damn sure pay for you to set up their utilities, to pay for their mover, to facilitate a lot of these other things that happen after the transaction. And I think that is what's going to set apart the ones that are going to end up leaving the business because they can't even articulate what any part of their value is at all versus those that are going to thrive in this new world.
Well, and I think that's just, it's the world we live in now. There's no time. We're super leveraged. There's a lot of friction and everything else, and especially going through a very expensive process with increased costs and interest rates and insurance and everything else now. What can I do to give my consumer back their time, to remove friction, to solve a problem? And I think we didn't do enough to really figure out, hey, because we're doing the reps all the time, right? We're doing the transactions and everything else, but are we sitting down and actually having the conversation and saying, okay, can we debrief after this? Like, what do you think, what problems could I have solved better for you? Or what
100%.
problems do you now see in this transaction that you wish were a service offering or anything else?
Absolutely.
Like, let's have a constructive debriefing on how I can improve this process, because I want to hear from you, the consumer that just went through this. Instead, we sit there and just assume what we should put in our toolkit and everything else, instead of asking what people actually want from us.
And then throw a fit, because now it's not predetermined what we're going to make for doing something we can't even articulate what we're doing.
Absolutely. Amen.
And it allows the buyer's agent to now be a true business owner.
Correct.
Yes.
If they so choose.
Yes.
And
No,
I
100%.
think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So
I think we're going to look back at this time a couple years from now and go, whew, man, that was an uncomfortable period, but nothing great comes out of comfort. You know, and that's where we are. And the people that are really going to thrive and succeed after all of this, they're going to look back and go, I wouldn't have ever put myself in that situation had it not been done to me. So I'm grateful, as much as I would have loved to have had a little bit more, you know, involvement in how this all occurred.
Yes.
I think, you know, this is a refining process for our industry.
for sure.
It is.
And for each of us as business owners individually to figure out what that next path is.
But you just said a key word, business owners.
Yes.
I don't think that enough realtors and buyers agents in particular function as business owners.
They don't.
They don't.
And that is what the root problem is of all of the chaos and the mayhem, because they're not functioning as business owners.
And that's where coaching and training and community becomes important.
Yeah.
And so many of them are not getting that, either because their brokers aren't offering it or because they're not taking advantage of it.
It's the brokers
not
don't
the
know
broker's
either,
job.
but they don't know either. And I think that's the thing too, is that that's not a negative, but to sit there and say that broker is running their business, the way they have set for themselves. And that doesn't mean that necessarily is how the trickle down effect is how you should run your independent business.
Again, it's the finding your authenticity, finding out who you are.
Correct.
In your business.
Yeah.
So
I think that's as we land that plane, that was a really good segue that you did over there, Michelle, is that's really what we're going to focus on at the conference is not these, you know, the ancillary tools that everybody talks about and does and everything else. It's really trying to get a paradigm shift so you guys can be in the driver's seat and understand that you do have the power, but you got to do a little soul searching first.
Yeah.
And these amazing women over here,
We're going to help you.
Yeah, we're going to help you guys do that with different ways. And that's the other thing too, is that there are some people that are going to gravitate more towards your style.
Absolutely.
And then there's going to be some that are going to gravitate more Chauncey style. And we're going to have something for everybody. And I think it's going to be an amazing, impactful day, because that is what is going to set us up for success, surrounding ourselves with other people that are willing to go through the trenches with us. And you know what? Success leaves clues, and these ladies are going to give us a lot of clues, including myself, September 25th.
September 27th.
So, see, I don't write anything down.
That's why you need a list. Michelle's like, that's why you needed a list, girl.
I was literally going to say, I'm going to say the date, and it's wrong, but I got my girl over here. So it takes all kinds, guys,
And I'm just happy to be here.
Yes.
We're happy you're here. We've had so much fun, much fun with you today. So we will see you at the Women Who Win conference on September 27th. If you would like to camp out early, you can meet Ashley there on September 25th.
I might be there. I got a parking spot, y'all, so I might be there.
That's right. She does. She does. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite, and we can't wait to see you there. It's going to be awesome.
Thanks for joining us.